Hi there, welcome to my latest video on No Beef Just Party. I've been promising for a while to do a bit more Warhammer content and in general as opposed to just Underworlds, and now is a good time to start that as we had the kind of big preview over on Twitch. I did plan to do this as like a kind of reactions video where I watch and chat and things like that, but the audio just didn't quite match up. It messed up, and I'm still not technically savvy enough to be able to fix that type of thing. So we're gonna chat through the article, like I have done in some previous videos, and let's see what those guys over at Warhammer have coming for us. I did have a couple of predictions for each one. So I'll run through what they were now, and we can see how gloriously wrong I was for some of them. So for the Horus Heresy, I don't really know that much about that sort of game system, but whenever they do a preview for it, you can only assume it's going to be another book, and with that book, there'll be like some characters or new models. A lazy prediction, I know, but that's kind of the best you can get from me, unfortunately. And then with Necromunda, irons in the title of the preview, so you can only kind of really assume they're going to be having the House Orlok. Then with Underworlds, I thought we're just going to be getting a trailer for season 4, no model spoilers or anything like that, and then a little chat about Arena. 40k, I was expecting maybe an announcement about some Sisters of Battle stuff. They haven't quite featurely in the trailer, but I didn't think there would be kind of much about 40k, bearing in mind the past 2 months Warhammer have just been kind of hammering home 9th edition. And AOS, I'd just maybe some more news on when those giants are going to be coming, and maybe the Cow Elves, and finally Warcry. I was under the assumption Warcry wasn't particularly doing that well. We hadn't heard much from it. Maybe kind of COVID had slowed Warcry down a lot, and I was really only kind of expecting news about this year's Tome of Champions. So yeah, let's look at the article and let's see how right or wrong I was. So here we go, the Shadow, Iron and Broken Realms preview. Straight to it. First up, we have the Horus Heresy. There we go, they announced the new book. That it's going to be kind of introducing the Dark Angels into the story now. Again, this is all completely over my head, but and kind of quite excitingly, I guess, for Dark Angel fans, is the Primarch Lion is being introduced, the big guy. Something that did kind of jump out at me, and hopefully they've got a picture of them. Yeah, they're just models for Heresy are just on another level, aren't they? I know they're Forge World, so they're going to be, but that is something else. Look at it. Absolutely brilliant model. I'm never going to buy anything like that because I wouldn't be able to do it justice with my painting skills. But there's going to be a lot of people chomping at the bit for that one, and these as well. The Night Lords Terminators. I really like these models. They're different to what I'm used to seeing. I know some people don't like the 30k look, but these are great. And if I was going to play, I would play Night Lords. They are the bad guys. There's no beating around the bush with this lot. They are the bad guys in the story. But yeah, they're fantastic models, and people are going to be having a lot of fun with getting those built and painted. And the book itself, I assume all of the Horus Heresy books come like this, so that your collection looks nice and leather bound. But it's definitely, when a new book comes out, it's a big deal. It's a really good series, and it might be something that I kind of pick up at a later date to eventually read through, but it is something that's just got, it's passed me by a bit, the Horus Heresy. But if you're a Horus Heresy fan, I'd imagine that's something really good to be excited about and looking forward to. Next up, Necromunda, and it was the House of Iron, the Orlocks. Necromunda, again, it's not a game that I currently play. I'm very interested in the console version that's coming out this month. That definitely looks like my jam, and that could be my gateway into the game. I know a few of my friends play it, and these guys, I like the look of these guys. These would probably be the house that kind of entices me in. So they're releasing a book, so I'd imagine it's like a codex full of law and rules, etc. And a box of models, which arms masters and wreckers. Quite a lot to unpack there. I think people are going to be buying this for a lot of conversion items as well and using them as count as models. But yeah, they're great. I like the look of this chap. That guy's awesome. I can see like this model being used for all sorts of stuff, but that's a cracker. That is a cracker. And then we can just slide. Oh, is it just these two that they've got here? Okay, it's just those two that they're showing on here. And then we've got these ones. They're very dynamic models. Kind of like the type of sculpts you're starting to expect from 40k, from Sigmar themed games. They're just great. And then finally, the Robo Pooches. Everyone loves a doggo, and I can imagine that they're going to be used quite a bit as count asses for all sorts of things. But it's a great little box, and potentially could get me into Necromunda. So the 40k, it was. I got this wrong, so I wasn't expecting anything like this at all. This video is definitely worth watching. It's again the kind of marketing team in Warhammer love to have fun with these type of videos, and it was a nice kind of Wild West type thing. But this model for me, as a Necron player, I'm very excited about. I mean, look at him. It's like a cross between Reaper from Overwatch and General Grievous. And the rules they teased for him are mental. By the sounds of it, as kind of like in a fluff sense, it's a unit killer. So a lot of assassination type models in 40k are character killers. It's like your sole purpose is to get in there and kill a character and then probably die. This model is units. Its purpose is just to be able to kill units. And at the minute, I can imagine it's going to get nerfed pretty quickly. It has 6 shots at strength 6, and they mentioned that it's going to have an AP. Is it in here? I don't think it is. They haven't put the rules in here. But they teased at that, and that when you kill a model, you get to shoot again. And not only that, it's a character, so it can be hidden behind units, and then you can also teleport in. So you can just send it in on an objective that's currently being held by the enemy, and then just go to town on it. I can see if it is too strong, because that 6 units... kill again, shoot again when you kill a model, could be mental. It could be absolutely mental. It is going to fill one of the elite slots, which means you're going to have to do a bit of a balancing act in there, but I think everyone's going to be taking this to start off with. It's a great model with some really strong rules, so I'm looking forward to getting hold of that, and I think it's coming out around the same time as the Codex in October, which I assume is when we're also going to get the Silent King and the Dragon as well. But then the next bit, a couple of book expansions. This one I'm quite interested in, the Crusade one. I've mentioned a few times in the kind of limited 40k videos that I've done. The Crusade's definitely going to be my jam, and this is like the first Crusade expansion, where everything is like set in a certain part of the galaxy, the prior, and there's going to be like unique items that you can only obtain like in Crusades set in this expansion, and it's quite an interesting way that they're going with the Crusades. I think it could open up lots of potential things in the future, having Crusades set in different parts of the galaxy, having Crusades set around particularly important marks in the lore and the fluff. They can even have these Crusades influence how the story proceeds by, you know, they have the big summer campaigns, and I can see these type of books tying in with that, and I think it's a good little addition to the whole Crusade series. And then terrain got kind of put front and centre. So we've got this nice terrain box, which, yeah, all the 4K terrain's brilliant. I've never really bought into terrain, but if I want to go into match play, I may have to going forward. So this mission pack tactical deployment, so it is clearly a way to sell terrain. Let's not beat around the bush there, but they're making you kind of think about matching terrain up with your army. So you're allowed to take 3 pieces of terrain to a tournament. This is great for clubs and stores who might not have enough terrain to run a tournament. But I am kind of undecided on. I'm probably never going to play tournaments, not for a while anyway. Crusade's going to be my jam. I'm still quite new to 40k. This is probably something I'm going to stay away from. The store that I'm going to be playing most of my games at has an amazing selection of terrain. So it's not really, I don't think it's something that I'm going to be buying into. It's going to be interesting to see what the kind of tournament community do with it. Because yeah, I've seen pictures of some tournaments where it's just boxes and egg cartons and things like that, because they just ran out of terrain that they did have to be able to hold a tournament for as many people that they have. So it kind of relieves the pressure off of them. It adds a bit more kind of tactical nuance. You know, do you want to have lots of giant buildings to hide your guys in? Do you want like lots of just barrels so you can move around quite quickly? I don't know. I don't know enough about kind of how the terrain works yet. I'm still kind of getting my head around the rules, but it's something that I'm going to stay away from. But I am very intrigued to see where the kind of tournament community go with it. And then the thing that I was probably the most wrong about was Warcry. I'm going to be doing a Warcry video sort of over the next week or so, but this is exciting. I generally thought Warcry was in kind of a bit of bother. I didn't really see where they could be taking it. I still am a bit concerned about where it's going forward. But again, this trailer is probably worth watching. It's pretty cool. Bit of a shout to 300 in the beginning there. But it's a new starter box. And I do like a new starter box. Set underground. The 2 warbands that are in there are these models are brilliant. The Dark Elves, they're kind of like they look like kind of a magic-y assassin type things, cloaked in shadow. So there's all sorts going on there. Again, very dynamic models. Absolutely love them. They're brilliant. And I just got my Daughters of Cain models for Underworlds, and these are so they could. I think they could slot into these as count as models too. But I'm probably I'm probably going to do that, and I'm going to use this colour scheme to paint my Daughters of Cain up so that I can do that. But they look fantastic. And the other ones are the Scions of Fire, and look at them. Just it couldn't be any different. Kind of nice, bright. Again, very dynamic models, and I like them. It looks like this dude's literally just on fire. And so I think that I'm assuming that's the boss. I like them. I really like them, and it's adding a new way to play. So it's a double-sided board. You get a little bit of outdoor terrain, but this is the new bit. Set underground. All these doors, I'm assuming because it's like catacombs and they're paired up. I don't think they mentioned what these doors do, but if you see, they paired up. So is it a case of you go through that door and you come out of this one, which makes it quite interesting, because getting around the board is going to depend on where those doors are. So I'm intrigued, and there's all that lava on the board as well, so I'm assuming you can shove people into that. I like the look of it, very Hero Questy as well, but I love the look of that, and it just looks fantastic. And then here's the outdoor terrain. So some of this is in the original core set, but it gives you the option, if you didn't buy that original core set, to have some terrain for those outdoor missions as well. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this as to when it's coming out. Hopefully it doesn't clash with too much stuff towards the end of the year, because I would really love this box. I assume it's going to be just as good value for money as the original Warcry box. So I reckon this is going to be about... It's not as much terrain, so it might be about 90 quid, maybe. And then Warhammer Underworlds. Again, I was a little bit wrong with this one. We got the trailer, but in the trailer they announced... Well, they didn't. Yeah, they announced 2 warbands, and it is called the Diachasm. I'm not too sure about that name, but it's. I always get excited about the new season. I have a few concerns about Underworlds going forwards. That's something I want to discuss in another video. But the opening warbands are. We've got a Slaanesh warband, which I'm going to come back to them later, and the Lumineth Realm Lords as well. So very the high alpha type thing. Now, clearly there's going to be magic in this box. That guy clearly some kind of wizard, so that's good. Because I'm very interested in what they're going to be doing with magic in season 4. Again, that's for another video that I'm going to be releasing soon. And the Slaanesh, I think they're predominantly Hedonites, but there is a beastie in there, a Slaanesh beast lady in there. But yeah, it's always good to finally see that the next season's coming, and we can start speculating about what we're going to see in there. But they did also, and I don't think they did this last time, they did also spoil a 3rd Ruddy Seraphon. Finally, look at that little chameleon skink with his toad dart backpack. So I'd imagine poisons are still going to be a thing in season 4. But people have been asking for Seraphon for so long. The big question is now, what Seraphon are going to be alongside this chameleon skink? Are they going to be a load? Is it going to be a skink heavy thing? Is this guy just a one-off, and then you've got some bigger warrior type things? I'm excited. I love Seraphon. A few of my friends who kind of dip in and out of the game quite like Seraphon as well. So they might be kind of jumping back in with these models. But then, which I did kind of see coming, they had a chat about Arena Mortis. Again, I'm going to go into a bit more detail about this in a separate video. I'm going to kind of focus on the Underworld stuff, because for me there's quite a lot to unpack there. So you've got the Arena Mortis game mode, you've got the boards, you've got the tokens, and there's going to be 40 cards that you can use in all versions of the game. Again, I'm going to go into this with a little bit more detail in another video. But that's good. That's good. I'm going to be buying this. There are definitely kind of where I live and where I play. There are definitely two camps of people who play Underworlds: the people who really enjoy playing the competitive side of the game and really get into it that way. And people who just like playing the game casually, as it's a nice game to kind of play. It's a beer and nuts game, as well as kind of being quite a competitive game. And I think this multiplayer version is good. You only need to have one warrior. You don't need to have your full warband. So that's going to be intriguing, and you can have up to 6 players. So, and I assume you only need the one board, maybe, if it's up to 6. And if it's just me that's bought this out of the kind of casual side of friends, great. We just go down the pub, go down a local store, whatever, and bust out a game, have a laugh, have a good chit chat. And if that brings those people kind of back into the competitive scene, then brilliant. But again, I'm going to kind of break down that further, because there's a lot kind of to unpack there, and it is something that's kind of splitting the Underworlds community down the middle a little bit. And then finally, Age of Sigmar. Again, I was massively wrong with this one. They've announced a new box, and it's Slaanesh again, front and centre, taking on Daughters of Cain. So again, Daughters of Cain kind of style models being kind of pushed to the front there. It does look like a great box. I'm assuming a lot of this is going to carry over to Warcry at some point. But Age of Sigmar, I've played it, I enjoy it, but there's just other games that I play more. If time allows, at some point, it may be something I get back into. A lot of people are going to buy this, though. Two kind of Daughters of Cain players and Slaanesh players are quite hardcore fans of those particular factions, but looking at those models, I assume the rules are going to be really good for them. I think a lot of people are probably going to be starting new armies when this does come out. That's the Slaanesh boss, I believe. Again, that's a great model. That would look great in a Warcry army as a count as something. But look at that. Again, that's another good one. I like the Daughters of Cain. They don't look like they're the good guys, do they? But they are part of Order. And then they announced the next chapter of the narrative event, which is interesting, because I always like keeping an eye on this, because something big does usually happen in these, which pushes the storyline and the way the game's played along, particularly in Sigmar. So, not something that I'll be reading, but it's something worth keeping an eye on. And the Murati book. So this is it. I think that's the end of it. Yeah, that's the end of it. A really good preview. I thought so much stuff going on there. And it's great that there's so much stuff going on with things other than 40k. I know it's just been very 40k heavy with the guys over at Warhammer at the moment, and you can't blame them because it's a brand new edition with quite some big important changes. A lot for me to kind of unpack with Underworlds, with the new season coming and that multiplayer. So I do keep an eye out for a few of those kind of videos with regards to that. But in the meantime, thanks for listening to my ramblings about the preview. And if you want to kind of keep an eye out for more content based around Warhammer stuff, lots of Underworlds, and there's going to be some Warcry coming up, and I will eventually be getting around to doing some 40k stuff as I start discussing what I'm going to be doing with my Dominus box and moving on to what my Crusade force is going to be. But thanks for watching, and hopefully see you all real soon. Cheers.